So what's the trouble with California's Constitution? For one thing, it's got too many words. The U.S. Constitution has 4,500 words. California's? 75,000. The bloated word count doesn't just make our Constitution too long. It's too specific, and it's inflexible. The length and detail locks policymakers in. For example, the Constitution requires a balanced budget. But because of built-in formulas, some years over 100% of that budget is already determined. Leaders can't adjust the budget for changing circumstances and new challenges. Furthermore, the Constitution is supposed to be a document outlining the process of government. It should be concerned with how to make the best policy decisions. But instead, it also incorporates policy itself. For example, articles governing the state lottery and bingo games, education spending, and tax exemptions for particular golf courses. None of this belongs in a constitution. To change such policies, you need to amend the Constitution. And how democratic is California's Constitution? Well, it requires a 2/3 majority vote on tax policy. This puts the minority in control. The result? Frequent gridlock. And there's another problem. Because of the way commissions are appointed, a relatively narrow group of people administer the state. Instead of drawing on the collective experience and knowledge of everyone, the appointees represent the in-crowd, leading to regulatory capture by industry insiders. For example, regulators allow oral surgeons to provide their own anesthesia, which they charge for while performing surgery, instead of requiring a separate anesthesiologist to ensure patient safety. Because of this, many patients have died. The Constitution does nothing to prevent this kind of regulatory capture. It shows up in the State Pension Fund, the State Utility Commission, and so on down the line. Have we left behind the legacy of racism that was in the 1879 Constitution? Not quite. The Constitution still allows forced labor as punishment for crime, which falls disproportionately on persons of color. And Article 34, widely considered a stain on the Constitution, requires a local vote in communities, many of which are segregated, before affordable public housing can be built. This has a major impact on our housing crisis today and adds an estimated 15% cost per unit to every affordable housing project. It's no wonder that in California today, racial segregation continues. In Los Angeles, there has been virtually no change in segregation of neighborhoods in the past 30 years. Which brings up a final point: representation. Our districts are too large. New Hampshire, for example, with a population of 1.4 million, has 424 members in its state legislature, 1 per 3,250 people. California, with a population of 40 million and many diverse communities, has a legislature of 120 members, 1 per 330,000 people. A state Senate district in California has 1 million people in it. Not only does this make it hard to talk to your senator, it's harder for them to get elected. Candidates with a lot of money are advantaged, and a lot of that money comes from special interest groups. Speaking of elections, we have an up or down, winner-take-all system. But a new constitution would set a new table. What if we switched to ranked choice voting, where you could rate the candidates? If your first choice falls out of the competition, your vote goes to your second choice, and so on. This would eliminate the need for runoff elections, and you could vote for who you really wanted, without worrying your vote would be wasted. We might even consider alternative ways to select representatives. For example, what if we chose our state commissioners by lot? A constitutional convention is ambitious, but other states have given us examples of success. 1972 Montana delegates, mostly ordinary people and not politicians, wrote a new constitution with new human and environmental rights in 2 months. Alabama recently convened a committee on the recompilation of the Constitution to deal with racist provisions and unnecessary length. Some states, including Iowa and Hawaii, automatically ask voters every 10 years if there should be a constitutional convention, based on the understanding that to keep government functioning, state constitutions should be revisited regularly. We could do the same. The troubles facing California are issues of the modern world. They're hard to solve because our tools are inherited from the past. We apply yesterday's methods with no success and think, what's wrong with us? No matter what we do, the problems are unsolvable. What we don't see is that the controlling structures are from another world. No wonder we can't meet the current moment. Everything around us is changing, except our way of governing.